Good morning and welcome to the video for fourth grade for Thursday, January the 7th. This is going to be another daily math video. So again, I'm not doing a separate video for the homework answers. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask on Google Classroom if you're confused on how to do something. For number one, we need to write it vertically like this. I went ahead and gave you the best way to write that. Reason being, of course, we can do 0 times 31 is 0, and then we can go ahead and write that as our placeholder as we go ahead and do 7 times 31 to find the other part. Because that would actually represent 70 times 31 if we go ahead and write that 0 here and then continue our problem like this. Number two, we don't have to do anything new and special for that one. For this one, how many faces does the pyramid have? Think about how many of these triangular sides that we would have on this if we have a rectangular base. That will give us the number of faces. Number four, continue the pattern. Number five, kind of works like an elapsed time problem. So we want to figure out how many minutes there are between 4:30 p.m. and 9 p.m. And then we are going to go ahead and add up these total amounts of time and then subtract from our amount of time that we have between 4:30 to 9 p.m. And then that will give us the amount of time that he spent had available to play video games. For day four, we are going to start with the division problem. Again, we need to go ahead and write that using the long division. And our first number would be how many times does 7 go into 56? And then we need to follow all of our steps. So to give you a review of what that should look like, I'm going to go ahead and do a similar problem, but with different numbers out to the side. So for instance, the first thing I need to do is figure out how many times 7 goes into 28. That would be 4 times. And then once I make that guess, I need to do 4 times 7 to figure out how much of my 28 that I started with that I actually used and how much will be left over when I subtract to go into the next part of my problem. So in this case, I get exactly 28, which means nothing carries over to the next part of the problem. I bring down my 7, and my final digit is going to be how many times does 7 go into 7? Think about that for a moment. That's going to be 1 time. Another example we could do where we would actually have to subtract. Let's say I change my starting number slightly, and I'm going to do oops, let's not do that. Let's do 214. Actually, no, that wasn't what I wanted. That's what I was looking for. So 294. So we can use this again. We would get 28 again when we multiply. This time when we subtract, we would have 1 left over. That's going to carry over into the next part of our problem. And so in this case, we would be doing 14 divided by 7. So how many times does 7 go into 14? That would be twice, and that would give us our answer. So we are going to end up with an exact answer for this. So those are two different examples. I don't think we're actually going to have anything left over when we subtract. So if we don't have anything left over when we subtract after seeing how many times 7 goes into 56, the next thing would be to see how many times 7 would go into this number, which is 2, which means that may be 0 times, and then we would bring down our next digit and then see how many times 7 goes into 21. So keep that in mind. Number 2 is going to work the same way as number 1, just with different numbers. Number 3, this is a really weird way of, did they just want you to go ahead and draw what the rest of the picture would be? Assume that this is a line of symmetry. what is the rest of the picture going to look like if you make an mirror opposite of this? I'm not going to try to draw that on the screen. Number 4, so the perimeter is the outside measurement of a rectangle. We can find that by adding the length of all 4 sides together. It tells us that one measurement is going to be a pair of sides that are 5 inches long, and the other measurement is a pair of sides that are 3 inches long. So you can draw a rectangle, plug in your numbers, add those together. The last one looks like we are doing multiplication. So 5 cavities, as someone that just had one filled, make sure you're brushing your teeth, make sure you do all those things because it's not very fun, especially if you had 5 cavities at once. And I think I actually have another one. Army paid to get one of them filled, but I think I've got something else going on with one of my other teeth. So yeah, you don't want 5 of them, but we want to figure out how long it would take to fill all 5 cavities if it takes 14 minutes per cavity to get those filled. So that is it for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in Google Classroom. You can send me an email or have a parent email me or send me a text if you need assistance. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.